Hey folks, welcome back to the kitchen. You know, we often take our appliances for granted, those trusty sidekicks that make our culinary lives easier. But even the simplest of them, like the humble toaster, can turn from helpful to hazardous in the blink of an eye. We're talking electrical fires, burns, even hidden health risks. Today we're diving deep into the world of toaster safety, separating the myths from the must-knows, so you can enjoy that perfectly browned toast without the fear factor. Stay tuned because up next we're getting toasty with safety. Before we continue, a quick reminder. If you're finding these tips helpful and want to stay updated with more kitchen safety advice, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We cover everything from appliance safety to cooking hacks. Your support helps us bring you more valuable content. Alright, let's talk fire hazards. You see, that toaster works by pumping a whole lot of heat through those metal coils, turning bread into a crispy delight. But that heat, my friends, doesn't discriminate. Leave a paper towel too close, let crumbs accumulate like a tinderbox, or worse, use a toaster with frayed cords, and you've got yourself a recipe for disaster. Remember, those coils get red hot, and can ignite anything flammable nearby. And speaking of crumbs, those little guys aren't just unsightly, they're potential fire starters. Over time, they build up, get closer to those hot coils, and before you know it, poof, you're calling the fire department. So, rule number 1, keep it clean. Empty that crumb tray regularly, treat it like a sacred ritual if you must, but don't let those crumbs accumulate. And for goodness sake, if your toaster looks like it's been through the ringer, it's time for a replacement. Don't mess around with faulty wiring or damaged parts. Remember, a well-maintained toaster is a happy toaster, and a happy toaster means you get to enjoy your breakfast in peace. We're done with fire, but don't think for a second that's the only danger lurking in your kitchen. We're about to unravel the shocking truth about electricity and your toaster. It's a match made in, well, let's just say it's a match you don't want to be a part of. First things first, put down the fork, the butter knife, heck, any metal utensil you're tempted to use to pry that stubborn toast loose. Remember those live wires we talked about? They don't take too kindly to metal intrusions. One touch and zap, you become the conductor, completing the circuit the hard way. And while we're at it, let's address the elephant in the room: water. Seems obvious, right? Water and electricity don't mix. Yet I've seen it all, folks. Toasters precariously perched near sinks, wet hands reaching for the plug. Don't be that person. Keep your toaster high and dry, far from any potential water sources. Remember, safety isn't about luck, it's about respect. Respect for the power of electricity and the simple precautions that keep us safe. Chapter 3. Handle with care, avoiding toaster burns. Let's talk about burns, shall we? I mean, it's hot bread, right? What could go wrong? Well, plenty, my friends. Those metal slots, the sides of the toaster, they get hot, ridiculously hot. Touch them right after a toasting cycle and you're in for a world of hurt. And don't even get me started on the impatient grab. We've all been there. The toast pops up and we just can't resist reaching for it with our bare hands. But remember, haste makes waste, and in this case, waste is a nasty burn. So, here's the deal. Let that toaster cool down. I know, waiting is hard. But a few moments of patience are far better than a trip to the burn ward. And when you do retrieve your toast, use tongs, oven mitts, or one of those fancy toaster grabber things. Remember, safety first, crispy goodness second. And hey, if you're feeling extra cautious, invest in a toaster with an automatic shut-off feature. It's like having a safety net for your breakfast. Chapter 4. The Silent Threat: Carbon Monoxide. We've covered fire, shocks, burns, but now it's time to address the invisible danger lurking in your kitchen: the silent threat of carbon monoxide. You see, folks, when those heating elements get a little too cozy with your bread, they can release more than just the smell of toasty goodness. We're talking about carbon monoxide, a colorless, odorless gas that can be deadly. Now, before you swear off toast forever, let me clarify. The occasional over-toasted slice isn't going to send you running for the hills, but it's crucial to be aware of the risks, especially if you're a fan of the blackened setting. First and foremost, ventilation is key. Make sure your kitchen is well ventilated, especially when you're using the toaster. Open a window, turn on the exhaust fan, anything to keep the air circulating. And remember, never, ever leave a toaster unattended while it's running. It's like leaving a pot on a hot stove, a recipe for disaster. If you notice a burning smell or see smoke coming from your toaster, unplug it immediately and clear the area. Better safe than sorry, my friends. Chapter 5. Burnt offerings. the Carcinogenic Crunch. Alright, let's talk about burnt toast. I know, some of you swear by it. The darker, the crispier, the better. But here's the thing, that charred goodness comes with a side of potential health risks. You see, when bread gets toasted to the point of blackening, it produces a compound called acrylamide. Now, acrylamide is naturally found in some foods, but it's also considered a potential carcinogen. That means it's been linked to an increased risk of cancer, and it's not just burnt toast, folks. Any starchy food that's cooked at high temperatures like potato chips or French fries can also form acrylamide. Now, before you panic and toss out your entire pantry, let me reiterate. We're talking about long-term exposure here. A slice of burnt toast every now and then isn't going to send you running to the doctor, but it's all about making informed choices and reducing your risk whenever possible. So how do we enjoy our toast without the worry? It's all about finding that sweet spot, that perfect golden brown where the bread is toasted to perfection without venturing into charred territory. Outro: toast responsibly. So there you have it, folks. The humble toaster, a kitchen staple with the potential for both culinary delight and utter disaster. But remember, knowledge is power, and now you've got the power to use your toaster safely and responsibly. Keep it clean, keep it dry, and for goodness sake, don't stick metal objects in there. And hey, we've all had our share of toaster mishaps. I once set off the smoke alarm trying to make garlic bread in a toaster oven. Don't ask. Share your stories in the comments below and subscribe to the channel. I'd love to hear about your toaster triumphs and tribulations.